Okay, let's watch the golfer on the right move into the impact position. Takes the club too far to the inside. Not too bad, though. Going to continue on through. We're going to go real slow now. Right on down to impact. Let's watch the hip action. See how much of the hips have rotated, how much movement there is. There, whoops, I went too far. Go back a little bit, back. It's really hard to do this. This is really precise. Well, there he is just after impact. Now you can see that the hips are still square, hasn't rotated very much at all. Let's go to the golfer on the left. You may recognize him. He's a pretty good golfer. It's Nick Rice. Now this is an iron. Good position there. See how much more to the outside he's taking the club. Now watch him come into the ball now. Watch him come into just after impact position. Look at the dynamics. Start seeing the butt cheeks turning towards the target. Do you see the difference there? How much more? First off, look how connected his arms are to his body, as opposed to the golfer on the right, whose arms are pretty well separated from his body. And as he turns through the shot, just after shot, we'll start seeing a lot of his back. We don't see much back here yet. To the finish, almost identical finishes. But you'll see the big difference is the golfer on the left still has his spine angle set. Golfer on the right is straight up and down. So we'll go back to setup positions. See how this matches. Pretty amazing, huh? So we've got to work on your spine angle, bud. One of the keys to a good golf swing is to maintain the center of gravity, which is your glutes, your butt, behind you. What we're going to see on this takeaway here is that the butt is going to move inside the golf swing. See, right about there. So he starts collapsing, creates this kind of a reverse pivot where he feels like he's shifted his weight, but all he's done is kind of swayed outside of his back foot. Take a look here nice and close. See how the back foot is kind of rolled to the outside. He's not braced up against it. Can't get any power there. We need to keep that. And then we've got to keep the butt back so that instead of tipping over forwards, you can move back into the shot. So he tips over a lot there. Now his hands are way up high. His head is tilted towards the target instead of away from the target. His pelvis is in front of him, then he's going to swing through and not do a good job of transferring the weight at all and kind of scoop that ball like that. See that? And then he ends up without any forward momentum at all. At this point here, the right knee, right hip, right shoulder, right ear should be over the front leg, over the front ankle bone. Okay, this golfer's made some incredible progress. What we're going to work on in the future is to develop club leg through impact. We want the hands leading the ball, or ahead of the ball, leading the club at impact. So we're going to watch what happens here. See a pretty decent takeaway, get good weight transfer, staying solidly on his legs, hasn't over-rotated hips, got good shoulder turn. And he's nice hip move into the ball right now. But then as he comes closer to the ball, he starts losing the club leg really early, and then his hands right there stop, and he throws the club head past the hands. Can you see that, how they're way past the hands early? Right there. At this point, just after impact, the right hand should be past the lead hip. We've got to get him turning more into the target. I think what we're going to do is work with a lot of just short shots, hitting the ball with just the hip turn. Try to keep the hands and arms out of it. Keep the connection all the way through. Great athletic ability, great finish. Just that little timing there at the bottom of the swing. Here we have a really good setup and a very good athlete. The problem is sometimes he doesn't get his weight transferred onto the front side. He's going to hit the ball kind of flat-footed and end up scooping it because he can't develop any club lag unless you can rotate the hips towards the target. So we'll watch this at slow motion as he comes in. Notice there's not a lot of hip movement towards the target right about now, and no pelvis movement, so his belly isn't moving to the target at all. Throw your belt buckle to the target. So what he ends up doing is sitting right here kind of flat-footed, slapping at the ball. And even though he can hit it pretty far because he's so big and strong, he could hit it better and more accurately if he would rotate so that at this point right now, the hips were rotated, the belt buckle is facing the target, and the club, believe it or not, should be on this line now, still back, getting some club lag, turning into the shot. So he never gets really turned into the shot until well after impact. What we're going to see here is a golfer with a very vertical swing. He takes the club pretty high above the swing plane on the way back. Let's go ahead and watch this in slow motion. See right there how high he gets and then back down to the ball. The difficulty with this is to be able to be accurate enough to come down and find the bottom of your swing at a shallow enough attack that you're not slamming the club into the ground. What we'd like to see is if he's going to come up this steep, for him to drop the right elbow down and then repath the club kind of on this line there. So instead of coming straight down at the ball, he's going to loop the club a little to the inside. See how it's way outside? And he gets a big chunky divot like that. Very hard to time that. What we're going to see here is a lack of forward momentum. You will notice got a pretty decent setup, head behind the ball. Does an okay backswing, nice and short, that's okay. But what he does is he never gets any movement forward, so he ends up hitting upwards on the golf ball. See that? Instead of hitting down on the ball, he's hitting up and lifting it because the right shoulder hasn't rotated around this way at all. If we can get his right shoulder to be pointing at the lead foot instead of the trail foot after impact, he'd be much better off. So we got to get Pete turning into the shot.